in 1999. And it was formed because, as an actor, the work that I was getting and doing was rubbish. It was terrible. It was just the same work over. I wanted to do more, something different. I think to be in charge, really. I wanted control. But wanted to do work on human rights issues, so that each play was very important. So it wasn't just a job, just work. It was very important. Each project was very important. And we started on a Holocaust play, which went very well. We went to Edinburgh in 1999 with this. And from that, the company began, officially began from that, with me and one other guy, Dan, who now doesn't work anymore with us. And then from that, each time we came to do another project, it would be on something I'd read, or a documentary I'd seen, and an image or the story of somebody that I found very moving or exciting as well. And over the years, it's just developed. The style of work has developed. Until this, the company, I hadn't directed anything at all, or written anything. The first direction and the first writing was the first play with this company. And so each play we have done is a new experience, because I've only written the plays for this company, so each one is new. So, for example, when we did The March in Italy, I think that was the third time I'd written and the third time I directed. So each experience was very new all the time, and still is, because we try and get new influences to come in all the time. So, for example, when we first started, it was only men. And for the first 3 plays, it was only men. Then we introduced women, which is a very different dimension and energy and focus. So that was a new impetus. And then we started, last 2 years, 3 years, to work with outside artists coming in. So, for example, a poet who's worked with us now, worked with us last year and will work with us this year again, to get new influences. And also work with other companies. So we worked on The March in Bologna, and this year we're working with a Palestinian theatre company to get new influences again, to learn different cultures and different approaches, but always under my style of work. Everything comes, if we do a project, we want to learn from other people, and the poet guy comes in and we want his influence and his experience, but it's adapted to our style of work. I'm very specific on the final product and the style of that product and the intensity of that product and how that's achieved. That's mine. And if we work with people, they have to understand that at the end of, when the decisions are made, they're made by me. There is no, we can discuss, but it's me at the end. And in the past, this has caused problems. In England, with other companies, they say they want to do a partnership, and then they want to tell me how I have to do it. And it just, no, it doesn't happen at all. And that's not because we are better than anyone else, but it's because I have things I want to learn. And for me to learn those things, I have to continue the journey that I'm on. Those things from outside can help that, but they mustn't overtake it. Does that make sense? Yeah. The core, and it's based around Artaud, the work of Artaud and the ideas of Artaud, and one individual chapter in a book. All our work, or the subject matter, comes from being a human being and wanting to understand other people's lives and existences and cultures, and trying to understand how people cope and survive. That's the subject matter. The style of work is based around Grotowski to a degree, in looking at the theatre and how we approach the space and approach the audience, and the actor's craft is to do really with Grotowski and also Stanislavski as well, to a point. but the core of the emotion and psychological journeys involved are purely based around one chapter in a book by Artaud, from a book called The Theatre and its Double. And it's the very first chapter called The Theatre and the Plague. And for 12 years, every work we've done is me trying to understand this one chapter in the book and to grasp it and to develop work using that as the core for the emotion and psychological journey. The Grotowski comes from the actor, the tools of the actor, the theatre, and how you interact with the audience and the space. The subject matter comes from being a human being. And an artist, I mean, if you're an artist, you want to absorb what you see and what you don't understand. And again, all our work is about what we don't understand, not what we do. There's no point in me creating a piece of work about something I know. This was stupid. I want to learn. The actors want to learn, hopefully. The actors want to learn. Everybody wants to learn and learn. And even the poet, Guy Ghazi, who works with us, the poet, he learns from us because he gives us his experiences and we absorb them and try to create work out of that in our own style, and then he sees his work in a different light, which is fantastic. The Palestinians, I think it will be a shock for the Palestinians. I worry a little about the Palestinians, but we'll see. We'll see. The core, the real key to it is that we are all human beings. We all have one thing in common, which is we are all human beings. And if you see, for example, we did one play on violence against women in the home. Now, the woman in the home is a prisoner in the home. And there are certain human emotions that you can connect to that if they were taken, or freedom was taken away from me, then I have some idea. If violence is against me, I have some idea. So I have a slight connection to the woman in the home. What I don't have is her experience and insight, but I have a way to approach her experience because I understand certain things. And it's, for me, it's about developing within me the things I have and connecting them with the experiences and feelings she has. And that's the journey. That's where theatre comes in. It's the bridge between what I know, or what I think I know, and what she experiences. And that bridge is theatre. So through that process of creating, of talking, of listening, of understanding, the theatre is the bridge to link what we think we know with what she experiences. And for me, theatre is fantastic for this, because there's no barriers. Well, if you approach it as I think it should be approached, there are no barriers in theatre. Everything is possible and everything is allowed. If it is based or grounded in truth and honesty, then everything is allowed, everything. There are no boundaries. This is Artaud, and this is why, for me, it's important to understand this. If a woman experiences this in an apartment every day, bang, 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 every day, the fear, the pain, when we come to approach and build the bridge for the understanding, it's our responsibility to show this. So I have one way of doing this, my way. Other people have different ways, and are equally valid. But for me, the building of this bridge and this understanding passing from this woman to us, and our reaction to this, involves us having a real understanding of what she goes through, of what her experience is. And for me, that means there's no boundary. If there's no boundary in her house, in her life, then there should be no boundary when we create it and approach it in theatre. And I think this is fantastic about theatre, that relationship, you can take that relationship, bring it here, and then build the bridge to the audience there. From there to here to there. If you're open, if you're allowed. If you don't let society put barriers up and say, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can only do this, you can only do that. It's rubbish. It's theatre. You can do whatever. It's difficult in London. It's difficult everywhere to do. The theatre we do is very difficult everywhere. People leave. They leave. A lot. They leave. But most of the time they leave not because they don't like it, not because... The one thing it must have is quality. You can defend any style of theatre if it has quality. If the acting has quality, if the writing has quality, if the direction has quality, you can defend anything because it's based in honesty, reality, and it has quality. So if somebody leaves from that, the responsibility is theirs. It is about them, not about us. We just create and put there. If an audience comes, doesn't like it and leaves, if it has quality and is honest, the problem is theirs, not mine. I can only create. I can't understand every member of the audience. The problem in theatre is that people create work that they want everybody to like. This is a big problem in theatre because you can't create something that everybody likes. It's impossible and also very, very boring. Why would you want to do that? It's very, very boring. What you do is you have ideas, you have theories, you have objectives that you want to achieve. And one of those will be to be honest to the subject matter that you're doing. Portray it honestly and with quality. And if you do that, then any problems with the audience are more to do with the audience reaction to that than what you've actually created. But that's not just in London. That will be anywhere. When we go to Edinburgh, which is supposedly Edinburgh, a very young audience and a very open audience to everything, we have people leave there as well. They leave as well. But normally it's because it's too much. Not because it's not good, just because it's too much. The emotion, the violence that we create or try to create is too much for people. They're in England, they're much, maybe in Italy as well, but they're much more accustomed or used to sit down, the play begins, you watch. You're a voyeur, not an audience. You're not participating, you're a voyeur. I don't do that. The theatre's not for voyeur for me. It's, you have an experience, it comes from us, we share it with you, you react and share your reaction back with us and return it to us. It's not about just watching us perform. This is very boring. Well, for me, I say it's very boring. It can be very good, this theatre. It can be very, very good. But it's limited, I think, in the subject matter you can tackle and approach. You limit it if you make it just an exercise in voyeurism. It is very limited. The audience come, they watch, they either like or dislike, and then they leave. This isn't enough for me. It's not enough. If we have to go through an experience, if we have to psychologically, emotionally, physically destroy ourselves to create an experience, I want the audience to leave feeling destroyed, as if we've shared something with them that has overwhelmed them, in a sense. And if that makes them leave, fine. If it makes them never come back again to see the work, then that's fine. That's their choice. But that's just what I want to do. I'm not interested. To be fair, if they don't want to come back, they shouldn't come back. If they make that decision, it's good that they don't come back. And hopefully, over a period of time, the people that do return will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and there'll be more people coming. We are very lucky with young people. Young people seem to appreciate the style and content of the work far more. They're not so intimidated by the violence, by the sound, by the physical effort, whereas not all older audiences, but some older people are very traditional in their approach to theatre, and our work isn't really traditional at all. In the same way as always, in the same way. It will be very hard. It will be intense, very physical, psychologically and emotionally, very hard, very hard. They are going to try and create a specific world. That world that they will create is very ugly, is very grotesque, the world. And that's what they have to do. In the same way of any subject we approach, we try to create the ugliness of that world. They will do the same. The process maybe will be slightly different because they haven't worked with me before, although they've all seen our work, so they know in a sense what to expect, which is good, which is very good, very, very good. But it will be a much more gradual process because obviously they've never participated in it. But they are very good, so in theory, maybe it can be, maybe we can create the same style of work in a short space of time. But the way we work is very physical. One slight difference with this is that normally the idea would be mine. So the choice of subject matter would be mine. The core of the piece, the structure, would already be in my head when we come to rehearse. This is different because I've said to them that they can choose the subject matter and that we can develop the core and the structure together, with always the idea that if it doesn't quite work, then I can go, oh, okay, we try this, we do this, we do this. But normally this wouldn't be the case. Normally when we come to rehearse and start, it's there. The majority of the piece would already be there. But this is slightly different because they are going to have much more input into the devising of the piece, the creation of the piece, which will be quite interesting. For me especially, because normally it's not. I'm in control. I am still in control, but it's their ideas, not my ideas. Normally I would write something and then bring the script, and then they would be given the script. But we would work each part, and what I didn't like through working, what I don't like, we throw away. Or I rewrite, but normally we would throw it away because it's me being stupid at home on a computer, being stupid, thinking, oh, I can do anything, and then actually trying, and it doesn't work. So we throw it away. So what we come in with as a script normally would get torn apart, but the core of it, what's the word? The image of the whole piece will stay, but the intricate, the core will always be there. The writing and the language is built around this, in a sense. Some of that will go, but the core will always be the same. The objective of the piece will always be the same. The way we tell the objective or achieve the objective will change. So normally I would come with a script, which would be given to the actors. We'd work, and then this at first, no, we're not going to do that. No, they're going to come in and we're going to improvise around things. But what might happen is I'll see something I like, and then I'll go away and I'll write. Come back in, give them, and we'll try again to see if we can develop maybe really good ideas that I see or images that I see that I think we should keep. Then I'll write. But again, it will be a basic structure. I'm not a brilliant writer, so things are quite simple when I write, and they develop out of the actions that we do. I'm very lucky because I have a theatre company and I can play. I can explore with the actors. If I want to spend one day working on stuff, before we ever start rehearsals, I can say, let's meet on a Saturday, and we explore things. And if I don't like it, I can go away. Most writers don't have this. Most writers have to sit and write and imagine in their head. I mean, I do, but I have the chance to see whether it works. Most writers don't have that. So I'm very lucky. In this, we're just going to bring it into one block of time, where they will bring ideas in. We have one weekend, for example, in February. They will bring ideas in. We'll work that weekend on ideas. Things I like, I might take away and write a structure around, and then come back again for another weekend, and then work again. So that when we come to rehearse in May, they know what they're working on because they've created it, in a sense. But yeah, I will write a bit, I will. Because otherwise it just becomes random language everywhere, and it can't be that. And also as well, with this project is interesting because there'll be Italians, Danish and English. So in a sense, the language has to be minimal for the concept of understanding. In a sense, should be much more physical. The language should be, the communication should come through physicality and words, more maybe than normal. But Britain does have a great tradition of dramaturgy. I'm just not part of it. It's just not me.